I'm actually setting this up as a backup because last time we did this, we may or may not have had a flub recording this. But yes, Sam and I finished the play Jubilation, which went very well, generally overall. Sam has another project on the go where she is stage managing a show called Good Egg that is playing starting next August 22nd till the 26th at the Fire Hall. At the Fire Hall.
Yeah, and Maine and Gore.
Maine and Gore. So if you're in Vancouver, Cordova. And so we are here with the cast of Good Egg, and we'll introduce you to them. First of all, on the left here, although you can't even see, I don't know why I do that, but I do that anyway, is Brooke Walker. Walker is a local Vancouver actress who grew up in the West Kootenays. She has always loved to act ever since she was a little girl and has been involved in her local community theatre in productions such as Footloose and Godspell, and she knew this as her true calling after being an extra on the set of the film Bobby Jones' Stroke of Genius in St. Andrews, Scotland. Wow. She was then accepted into the Vancouver Film School in 2007, graduated in 2008, awarded Best Actress for Vancouver Film School's 48-Hour Film Festival, and a couple of years later won Best Actress in 2011 Vancouver's 24 Film Festival for the short film Schnitzel or Spatzel. She took a break from acting in 2010 to stay at home and raise her daughter, who is also here and may or may not say things. And as much as she loves her job as an actress, being a mom to her is the most rewarding job there is. She learns so much from her daughter, not only on a personal level, but as an actress as well. Brooke has worked on several local independent films, theater, and has landed her first TV guest star appearance on the Untold Stories of the ER. Brooke, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. How are you?
Thanks. Sounds weird when somebody reads it out.
Yeah, does it sound weird? To the far end is the director. Yes, Hans Potter is a graduate from the U of A theater program. Started in theater and improv, Hans has developed a deep love for performance and entertainment. In 2013, he started his journey into film and TV, starring in such films as 3 Hours Till Dead and Kamikaze Eric, and this year made his TV debut on DC Legends of Tomorrow. Awesome. And he's thrilled to return to the stage, but as a director with Good Egg, a wonderful story with an amazing team. Welcome, Hans.
He likes superhero things too.
I do, yes. We are going to be reviewing a special superhero thing that's coming out in under 12 hours as we're recording this.
Oh, Defenders.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, it's coming out now. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And there's another guy here named Rob, but he doesn't have a bio because no one sent me any. Wait a minute, that's not true. Robert Allen Hughes went to the University of Lethbridge to study theater, moved out to Vancouver in 2007 to study acting from film and television. He graduated from the Vancouver Film School in 2008 and has done professional theater, The Way of the World, The Stage That Made Us, and TV, Unleashing Mr. Darcy and Untold Stories of the ER, and is the co-founder of his production company, Stowray Productions, and is thrilled to be the production of Good Egg, and is very excited to present the story. Welcome, Rob.
Yay!
All right, so tell us about Good Egg.
Brooke, you found the play, right?
I did. I found it on, it's called Broadway Productions, so it's an off-Broadway production, written by Dorothy Fortenberry, who actually is also one of the top writers in the local TV show here, 100, as well as, is it Handmaid's Tale? Yeah. So I found this play. I've been wanting to put on a play for years now, and I finally decided, okay, I'm going to go look for one, but I wanted to start off with a small cast, because I don't think I could handle a big production. So I ended up reading this play, and I fell in love with it. I loved the characters. I could really relate to them, and I've known Rob for 10 years now. So I said, hey, you want to put on a play? And so he's like, yeah. I was like, hey, you need to find a director. And so that kind of got put off for a while. And then I met Hans on set of Hours Still Dead and talked about it. And he's like, oh, I've directed some plays. Well, if I'm not, up to anything, give me a shout. So
But
After-
that wasn't until a year later on
I-
Bigfoot.
on Bigfoot, and I was like, still interested? He's like, yeah. And so then we started doing some rehearsals, and we were like, well, we need to find a stage manager now. It's like, well, if you know anyone. So we're like looking around, and then I met Samantha in voice acting class at Shoreline Studios, and we were talking about theater and everything. I'm like, hey, have you ever done stage management before? She's like, no, but I've worked on in theater before and done tons of plays myself. So I said, well, we have someone that could teach you. Would you like to? So that's how we got Samantha, and then we've just been rehearsing since
March.
Yeah.
March. Yeah,
March, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
once a week, but.
yeah. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's very rewarding. It's going to be sad once it's over. But, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. What
It's been an
about?
interesting learning experience.
Yeah.
Just for me, I don't know about Rob, but definitely for me, because this play deals a lot with some subjects that I
Yeah.
really didn't know anything about. Endometriosis,
Yeah,
bipolarism,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
in vitro and fertilization
like I've heard of them, but I've never actually gone and
research.
researched
and,
and
more.
about it, yeah.
And yeah, it's a funny play, but it's also very, it touches those, like the bipolar disorder and all that. It goes into it, and it's, just shows what people that are going through it actually are experiencing, but it makes it into, I don't know, she does it in a way that
It's very human.
is very
Yeah.
human.
You get to know it on such a personal
Yeah.
level. These characters deal with it not in an abstract way, but very, this is what happens to me as a person personally. So it doesn't tell the story of this is bipolarism. This is Matt.
My
right there.
story
Yeah.
of bipolarism.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does get kind of abstract in certain places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in our monologues and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, when we have our 2 scene changes from the living room to
Yeah.
specific
Uterus.
parts of the body. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah, we get to visit Meg's uterus and Matt's brain, which
Yeah.
is her.
So
That's
it
super
talks
exciting.
about someone going through living with being bipolar, and someone who is trying to have a life, but also being there for her brother who has bipolar, and having to try to, how it's affecting her relationships in life. And so I don't want to get too much in detail. I don't want to give away the whole play, but and just about how she wants to have a family, but it is hard. It does put a burden on some of her relationships, so it kind of goes into that, and I don't know, it's pretty.
And sorry, what was the play written?
When?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's about early 2000s. It's not a very old play.
Yeah, it's fairly modern. Like
Right.
there's
It's very modern. It's modern.
references that we're adding into to stuff.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking is because back in 2000, it wasn't, the topic bipolar wasn't part of our conversation or part of our vernacular back
No,
then. It's
like,
been really something in this decade that has come out a little bit more.
Yeah, it's come out. It's become much more mainstream within the last few years at least. Like I know Silver Linings Playbook was
Right.
one of the big I films just that, that this morning.
Yeah.
that addressed the whole bipolar situation there. But yeah, like I mean, even then, there's still not a lot of it known. But I mean, like we're talking about like in vitro fertilization and all that stuff as well, and
Some heavier stuff, but
yeah,
I'm
it's
trying
heavier
to-
stuff. But I mean, like there is lightness to it. Like it's a brother and sister, and the back and forth, and all the sibling rivalries that come along with that.
And the play does address the fact that some of these issues are very new. The play does go into the fact that diagnoses for bipolarism are still kind of in the process of being learned and
Yeah.
really cemented.
It takes people almost like 20 years sometimes to be even diagnosed.
Yeah, and even talking about the in vitro fertilization and things like that, they talk about just how that's come along. It's interesting because I feel like a lot of people coming from different backgrounds will find something in this play they can relate to, whether it's as simple as the brother-sister relationship, that level of family, or people who have dealt with difficult times conceiving children, or people who are dealing with mental illness.
Yeah.
The show has something for everybody in that respect. But then, like I said, at the same time, we're hoping to not crush your soul the whole time, and, make you laugh a little bit. I come from a comedy background, so me directing this show, I wanted to try to find the humor in these situations as much as possible while still respecting them. So I feel like my cast nailed that.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I think the characters
Thank
are
God we made it.
pretty witty too, especially you,
Yeah.
Rob, or
That's it.
Matt. I was like, what is this character's name?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the characters without spoiling the.
Well, Meg, she is a congressional researcher, so she's very almost like kind of,
Meticulous.
yeah, very meticulous, but she's also very fun. Like, her and Matt share, like, growing up with, like, old music. Like, Singing in the Rain is one of the ones that they reference in the play. And so I think she's very fun and loving, and she's, dedicated to her family. Like, she was always the one who, after her mom passed away, so she was kind of like the mother figure growing up at a young age. And I think
She's
felt-
essentially the glue that held the
she
family
is the glue
together.
that held everything together.
Yeah.
And I think she's now trying to restart her own like family and everything. And so it's her trying to go about it in a way of still trying to be there for her brother, but also, I think, she's basically just the glue to keep her family together. And so
She's trying to find her own life too, her own identity.
exactly her own identity, because I think she didn't really get much of a childhood growing up because she was always the one keeping everything
Looking
together.
Yeah.
So
And Matt is pretty much the polar opposite of Meg. The bipolar opposite. But anyways, but no, he. Again, without trying to give too much away, like he's very innocent in some ways. Like he doesn't, but he I don't know. Selfish is the wrong word, but he.
I think he is, but he doesn't really know it. Like he's
He doesn't take into account other people to certain degrees, and I mean like that is in some respects a product of bipolarism and all that stuff. But he's very lighthearted and fairly easygoing. Like he doesn't.
very smart.
He is very smart. He's he does graphic design and stuff like that.
He's an inventor.
He's an inventor. Yes, he's an inventor. He just.
He's almost in conflict with himself.
Yeah, he's almost like not a walking contradiction, but just he does contradict himself in so many ways, but it doesn't register with him.
Do you find that this is a character you can relate to personally, or?
In certain respects, yeah. I mean, like I've just been wanting to do a character that I can really like sink my teeth into, like as an actor, and so. When Brooke came to me with this role, I was I read it and I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, like this is
Pretty some heavy stuff, but also
it's
fun
heavy, but
as well.
it's not like it's you can get. I don't know. I mean, like there are certain directions that Hans took where it could be heavier in some parts, but then lighter in another,
Yeah.
and so. In terms of relatability, yeah, to a certain extent I can. I mean, some of the things I obviously had to research
Right.
and figure out, like
Right.
where he's coming from, and then substitute that with all my acting prowess and all that.
Well, kind of what we've learned just through a lot of our discussions as a cast is, a lot of this subject matter we touch on, even if you're not directly associated with bipolarism, there's just dealing with mental illness in a lot of ways. You know, I think, especially in a rat race world we live in today, most people can relate to the notion that sometimes you just have something in your head that you can't get over, and you struggle to make sense of it and to make others make sense of it. And, you know, character like Matt, who has the name for it, bipolarism, you know, he kind of he has a bit of treatment, but it's still a struggle for him. I think anybody can really relate to that. You know, anybody who's gone through that week of just feel like crap all week and you don't know why. I mean, that's kind of what we emphasize in this play, is that sometimes those feelings, you don't know what to do with them, but at the same time, it's, like I said, not all down the dumps. You know, we talk about the fact that they have a lot of fun. You know, like I said, singing in the rain. They reenact some of the scenes and they sing along with them, and they clearly have this very positive relationship that just hits a road bump when dealing with some of these very adult, and I should say adult like it's a very very serious topics, and it's not even just about the bipolarism. Meg herself is facing these challenges where she wants to start her family and move on,
but she's got complications as well.
Yeah.
She has endometriosis, which I knew some people growing up that had it, and I didn't really know exactly what they actually went through until I researched a lot about it, and I was like, holy man, this is there's different, it can go to extreme to minor, it just depends on where it is in your body as well. So to figure out,
can you spell it?
Oh gosh, E N
Say it.
E N D O M E T R I O S I S.
It's funny because no one at this table here is going to correct you.
Yeah. I was trying to
We're
spell
all
the other
I'm
day.
just actually sitting here impressed.
Yeah. Somebody's at home no, that's not, no.
Yeah.
No, it's wrong.
I was sitting at home. I said to Marcia, his first language isn't English. I was like, "How do you spell endometriosis?" He's like, "Are you kidding?" I'm like, but yeah, no. I'm not gonna be able to spell that.
Bipolar is spelled B-I.
Yeah.
And Sam, I think you probably, on anyone at this table, you've probably looked at the script more than anyone else.
I think you're pretty much on
I
par.
think I'm right.
Yeah.
I think I'm right. I've
Yeah.
seen it enough.
Yeah. The little one is saying something.
You excited to see a show with your mom talking about?
If she's
Well, she's not going to see
Can't
it.
No,
come.
that's it.
She told me, she's like, Mom, can you do a play next time so I can come and watch?
Yeah, we should also
no.
mention there's mature content.
Oh,
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
There's mature content, strong language, and
Yeah.
And mature
minor
teen.
violence.
We're dropping phones here. So
Right.
you were in the middle of a thought, and I totally interrupted you
I
with a
can't
spelling
remember.
test,
I
and
can't remember what I was saying. Oh, endometriosis.
yeah,
No, just because I don't have it, so I know I've had friends that have had difficulties conceiving and stuff because of that. But actually researching it and just finding there's not just you have it. There's extremes of it, so you can either have it. Some people have it and they can have kids. Some people have it, they can't. It's just.
well, it all depends on
And-
where the where it takes
is
place in the body.
right?
It's
So
like some. Well, I don't know.
No, we don't want to. There's no
No.
spoilers, but
No,
in the
there's a
show,
monologue,
you'll
like
learn.
you
there's
talk
a
about.
little in my monologue they talk about it.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
like
want
the first thing.
give. Yeah.
yeah.
I lived with a girl for 2 years who was one of my best friends in university who has endometriosis. And it took her a very long time for anybody to take her seriously. She went to the hospital 10 times before anybody even listened to her. And then once being diagnosed, having basically no pain treatment. And the pain meds that she did have, which is pretty much take her over and she couldn't function as a normal human being. And I was living with her when she went through surgery to try to get some of these clusters taken off of her whole area down there because it was basically in the uterus, but she was in chronic pain all the time, and it was horrible to. It was sad because you couldn't do anything, no matter how much you try to help somebody. And her, number one dream in life was to be a mom, and that might never happen for her. And it's heartbreaking to see someone go through something like that.
So Hans, how did you because you found him. What made you, Brooke, what made you pick Hans to be the director?
Well, we've been in a couple films together, and there's just something about him. We have good chemistry, and it's just like, I don't know, he's a fun guy, and he's also, he knows his stuff. Like, he knows he's got a great theater background, and he's, and like, I just like him as a person, as well as I've seen how he is in acting and his choices and his like direction and just like his I just said, hey, let's all get together and do something. Let's make something. Let's just get some friends together. So we talked about it. It was actually, we were sitting and eating dinner, I think, after taking a break from set, and we're talking about this play, and he's like, well, fine.
Or was it in the back seat of that crazily cramped car?
Oh, yeah.
We were in a movie together, Bigfoot County. Is that what you
Bigfoot County, yeah.
County, yeah.
I thought it was country.
Is it country?
Yeah.
I
You were in it.
It had 3 different names, okay? So.
Fair enough.
Stuffed in the back of a car. I'm 6'1", so I think you were pretty comfortable there, Brooke. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Summertime, hot, and we're just sitting there waiting for take after take, and then we're just like in between takes. I'm like, so yeah, we just like started talking about it. And then he's like, well, yeah. I'm like, I'm thinking maybe in the new year. So literally right after New Year's, I was like, so are you still interested? Let's do this. And so that's yeah.
And how did you get, because you said you didn't really relate at first with the script, huh? So how did you?
Well, for me, like I come from a theater background, and I was starters was getting back into theater. Even as somebody who's gone into film now, it's like you can't escape that love for theater, and so getting back into directing for me. I mean, I've directed a couple plays and did a lot of directing, like in university and stuff, and getting started with the stuff I could relate to in the show. Like I said, the show's got a wide breadth to it. So for me, I started with the relationship between the 2 siblings. I have older brothers, so I kind of got that. And then it was all about just finding the commonality. When you talk about the endometriosis, I have family who also had trouble, for different reasons, and I just found the relatability there, and I realized it was a story that should be told and should be told well, and it should be told also with a bit of fun to it. And I thought I could, I really believe I could bring that, and hopefully I have brought that. And and then dealing with the bipolarism, there's mental illness in my family as well, and just getting those stories out there, I think, is so important, because we still live in such a time of stigmatization. People don't want to talk about their illnesses, or they want to share them, and I think giving a voice to those people is really important, just to let them know that they're not alone. There's places they can go, there's resources, and there's people writing their story, and I think that's important.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing is like, it is so well written. Like the story is so well written, and like we had someone just come, like she was doing photography for us, and she really enjoyed especially the monologues, just because
I had no idea.
She had experienced some of these things, and so she was like, oh my god, get out of my head, kind of thing. And so that's a testament to Dorothy and her writing, and so I think that's something that the audiences will really relate to, and if not relate to, but empathize with, or sympathize with, because there's just it's specific, but it's also got a wide breadth of themes going on in there. So.
Is there anything else we want to, before we get into where and how much and stuff, is there anything else in the play that we should be kind of talking about? We talk about maybe kids shouldn't come.
Well, yeah, although it's funny, because when he had to come over a lot of times to rehearse, it was kind of funny having to change some of the words while she was there.
Language.
The language. It's mainly
And some
more,
of it.
like, it's just mainly more of just, like, language. Like, it's not, like...
Not provocative.
It's not provocative or anything.
That'd be weird.
It's like you mentioned it, it's very real. It's like more kind of... There's just a few words that get slipped out there that are maybe not for kids.
Well, more than a few, but
And maybe some subject matter that it might not.
yeah.
They might not understand. Not understand, but it's just a little mature. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was also kind of curious because you guys were talking about the difference between theater and film, and I kind of want to chat a little bit about that for a couple minutes. What and all five of us could kind of relate in a different way. What's the difference, and what do you prefer? Is it for you like, oh, I'm
Theater
acting,
is-
so it's fun?
Theater,
Yeah.
Yeah, theater
I
for
mean,
me.
like,
I love film and I love, like, that's what I came out here for, is to get into the film industry and everything. But growing up doing theater, there's nothing like the energy from, like, the audience and just, like, live theater, being on stage.
well, and there's an
like,
immediate reaction.
and yeah,
in theater,
exactly, right?
Right.
And it's always different. Like, if you have more than multiple shows, like, it's different. It's just fun. I just, there's nothing I love. I work off of people, so it's really, there's nothing like it.
Well, and I'll be the snob here. I think there's just there's such a history to the professionality of theater. You know, it's got, and you know, when you go to film, not saying film actors aren't professional, or whatever, but you know, when you go, you do your day, you go home. With theater, there's such a long-standing like hold on what you have to be doing and performing, that there's just this level of work that goes into it that is just so specific to theater that, you know, a lot of times when you've been doing film for a long time, you get, maybe sometimes you get a little bit film lazy. With theater, you can't get lazy. There's no way to relax if you're, you know, if you're doing a bunch of shows in a row and you decide one day, it's gonna be a throwaway day. Well, there's no second take to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and then it's like it's also it's
The
a
stakes.
complete through line, right? Because there's going to be like in film, at least in my experience, it's okay. So we're doing this scene at the end of the movie, and then we're going to be doing this scene at the middle and then beginning, and blah blah blah. It's all displaced, so you got to like compartmentalize where it's like, okay, so we're going to be focusing on the scene and the arc of that scene. Whereas this, we have an entire play to focus on the arc. I mean, like we are
It's a
focusing on
journey.
arcs of
Yeah.
of scenes, of course, but it's also, but we have an entire through line of this entire play, and you know the things that have happened before in the previous scenes. We know what that felt like because we just did it, you know, and so yeah, I mean, like, and you know, yeah, just because I love acting, and so it's like. They're both great for me personally, but
I love both. They're different.
yeah,
right?
it's
different.
a totally different experience.
Yeah, I agree. Theater for me, I mean, I'm still like getting my head wrapped around. I've done film stuff, but it's different. It's totally different, and you have to change your mindset almost, and just put yourself in a different box when you do film than theater, because you just have to make everything smaller and not be so. Yeah, I just gestured if nobody was listening.
Yeah, she went like this. Can't tell.
Which is the arms going up. And
Yeah.
I remember, like, and when we went on the show, it was really hot because the weather's been hot and we were in a really sticky theater. But like, just we had one night where we had a couple of the
Set problems.
well, that too, but we also had the night where the those two members of the audience were like really like
They were like everything they would react to. Like these two women, it was so funny because we didn't get that reaction because it's a very serious play that we're doing, but these women were like, and like everything there was like a reaction, and I was,
it was
like,
just so, and it's that's the power of I think the theater is like the
it like
live.
totally gives you like this
You can't
energy.
see people's reactions when you're watching the film. 'cause
Yeah,
you're not
exactly.
there.
Yeah.
So,
well,
but
unless
you
you're like
can't-
just
well,
sitting in front of the audience, just like looking
Yeah.
back at everyone.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like I also know, like when your friend who was doing the photos came and saw the play, it also gave us a different feedback because we all we've been in this, and so like we know what's going on, but like we didn't have those moments of laughter or like the reactions, and so it was really interesting. I mean, I've done theater before, so I know that we got to pause at certain places for laughter and all that stuff.
And there's people will laugh at things you never would.
You never
think.
expect.
And then
Yeah.
things that you expect them to laugh, you're just like, okay, keep going. There's
Yeah,
nothing
it's like,
going
what?
on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
that's
aren't you
all.
laughing?
Yeah.
Pause for laughter.
That was funny. Yeah.
Stop the play! Why aren't you laughing?
Yeah.
Well, there's an organic factor to theater too from the directing side. You know, I've directed some films before, and I'll be honest, it's way hard for me to direct film because I got to think about all this technical stuff. It's like, no, I just want to move actors around. But you know, you're creating things in such a small box in film that you really have to kind of get that one snapshot and then get it in the can and leave it. With theater, there's just a malleability to it. You know, my ability to stand up and kind of halfway through a scene just push an actor and be like, nope, do this differently. And you obviously not during the show. That'd be hilarious. But you know, while rehearsing, I can kind of go up and be like, no, just do this again, do something different, or whisper in their ear. Yeah. There's not a million film things going on, which, you know, that's a whole other skill.
Well, the other thing is with theater, like from an audience perspective, is you can choose where to look. Whereas with film, it's like, okay, this is what I'm focusing on. This is it's chosen for you. Yeah, so. There is a little bit more freedom in theater in that way.
And the film theater scene, because Vancouver's like the Hollywood North. We get this. Is this true? What are we thinking? What's the current climate like right now?
It's pretty busy right now.
It's busy.
It's actually quite a down though, I've been told.
Oh, really?
Well, Ontario nabbed a bunch from us, and the new Trump rulings have added a bunch of tax credits back to California. So I'm getting very specific here right now. So we actually saw a decline in how much we're seeing, which can actually be good, I think, for a lot of Canadian actors, because when the professional Hollywood stuff starts to fade away, the people working on those sets start to make Canadian products. One of the problems we run into as Vancouver-based actors is how often are we on set with 7 American leads, and wondering what then they're bringing in American guest stars all of a sudden. And you're like, why?
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's great. It's great for the crews. I think here it's awesome. They're always working and stuff, but sometimes as actors we feel like second-class citizens a little bit. So it's kind of nice jumping back into theater and getting to kind of run your own show and feel like the actor you have trained to be. I think Vancouver Canada kind of ignores just how talented Canadians can be.
Totally.
Hopefully there's changes coming, theater scene building up, and shows like Letterkenny and Orphan Black and things like that. Like, hopefully there's a change coming.
I think Orphan Black's ending this season.
It's tragic, but it means something new can hopefully take its place. And I think
one like Travelers is
Travelers.
super Canadian. A lot of Canadians involved in that, and I think that'd be the best trend. And if people went and saw more Canadian theater, and now I'm getting preachy, go see more Canadian theater.
Go see Go do it.
If you need a good example, go see good. They see how talented Canadians can be.
Yeah, well, and I also noticed, especially in Vancouver, the theater scene isn't that big, whereas in Toronto, it's massive.
Huge.
There's
Or New York.
like theaters. Well, no, but I'm talking
In
like specifically Canada. Like Toronto is a huge theater scene. They test their shows for Broadway in Toronto.
Yeah.
And how they're going to do. I think
That's where Kinky Boots
Come From Away, which is that new Canadian play
Based
about
from where I
9/11.
live.
Yeah, based in Gander. I shouldn't say it started in Canada, but it was written by Canadians, and then it was transplanted in Toronto, and then they moved it on to New York, and it's blown up. Like they're getting Tony nominations and all that stuff, and so
cool.
yeah, I mean, and so in terms of theater in Vancouver, I think there are good theater, theater or playhouses here, but not a whole lot of theater companies from what I've seen. And there's the Fringe Festival, which is huge everywhere, but
I think the film scene's kind of almost
the film scene's
stepped
kind
on
of
our
yeah.
I mean, our theater scene's weird because even getting into the arts club here, you have to audition to audition. It's super weird.
I know. It's just and then you have to pay to audition.
Yeah, it's super. It's very very small. I think there's a very top echelon of Vancouver theater actors who are doing very well. It's just to break into that, you pretty much have to know somebody. I come from Edmonton. I think the Edmonton theater scene's fabulous. It's so good.
Yeah.
And it's so welcoming of new ideas and new people. I think that's the one downfall of the Vancouver theater scene is some of these people aren't willing to receive like new companies, and they're not, and people have a hard time justifying. You know, I'm trying to sell tickets to my friends, and they're like, "Well, what do you mean I'm spending this much to go see theater?"
Yeah, people
theater.
here
Like,
don't want to spend money on
yeah.
theater, and
They're
it's
like,
like,
"Isn't it $10? Why would it be?" No.
it's like we're not at a movie theater. We're at,
Yeah.
totally.
But you can buy booze at our.
Yeah.
There is an open bar. Well, not open.
Not open. Not open.
The bar is open.
The bar
for you to
is
spend
open.
money.
Is what I
Yeah,
meant to say.
it's open for you to spend
Sorry.
money at. So.
Whoa!
We're coming.
But yeah, so I think that's.
Well, and I also find like a lot of the time, that they, and I'm speaking specifically to like casting directors, like they're always trying to impress LA, right? Like we're always trying to impress LA or New York or whoever, and so they're less willing to take chances. I find.
Right.
They've got their select.
Yeah, they've got.
Yeah,
they've got their-
I've been noticing that
Yeah.
too. There's certain looks that I think, I'll go to an audition and I'm like, yeah, this one's got it.
Well, it's just like, oh, I've seen this guy before. I know.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
I
he's
mean,
done lots of commercials, et cetera.
my big thing last year was taking casting director workshops, and one of the ones they were saying was, if we, LA will call us up 3 days before they need the part, so I can't bring in 15 new actors. I'll bring in, 20 actors I know and maybe one or two I don't. But that's kind of the, we're called Hollywood North, but really we're not our own Hollywood. We're an extension of Hollywood. Yeah, we're not like Indian. We're not like Bollywood. We're not like the Chinese theater or film scene. That we are really just an arm of LA, which, like I said, I think it's too bad. I think Ontario and even Quebec have it right, where they're really developing their own stories. Vancouver has sometimes a hard time getting its stories out, getting its own voice on film. I think that sucks because everyone's so like, well, why would I work on your little indie film? Well, I can go PA on Deadpool. It's like, well, okay, I guess so, but don't you want to see these stories told?
Caribbean Blue.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Wait, are you supposed to say
Kirby,
that?
yeah. Where's
kidding.
Deadpool? What? Is that being filmed here? I already Caribbean.
I don't know. There's some local actor who's in it.
Yeah.
At least they have a Canadian star in this one.
Yeah.
Our director from Jubilation actually said something that was very interesting because she's from London and she, London is the theater capital of the world, and she said that people, I love Vancouver, nobody lynch me for this, but people in Vancouver don't necessarily want to tell stories, they just want to be noticed.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
a real
was-
Canadian thing.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, you're right, totally right. Like, and I find the whole thing what you said, like Vancouver, like in the scene, it's hard to like break into. Like that's pretty typical of Vancouver in general. For people, like it's hard to make friends in Vancouver because everybody's very like standoffish, and it's just like, I don't know, like very cliquey almost, like the way high school was. It's like you can't break into that. And I just find it hard to get to know people here because everybody's very standoffish. And I've read that about Vancouver before.
Not that we're insulting.
No, it's
Vancouver.
I
or
do
anything
love
like that,
Vancouver,
it's
but
just,
I feel like people are just a little more.
they've got their own thing going on.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
I just for me, I think it's important to dispel myths and get into the reality because someone's going to hear this podcast and be like, oh, I have a dream to come to Vancouver and I'll be rich and famous.
It's still great, guys. I came
It
from
is
Newfoundland, and it's fine. It's
Yeah.
good.
You should live here.
Yeah.
If you can afford it.
If you can afford it, it's a whole other topic. But,
Yeah, we won't get in that today.
Yeah. So, how do we get tickets to the play? And
You can go on to the firehallartcenter.ca and
Center spelled TRE.
Yeah.
TRE at the end.
At the end.
The Canadian
And
one, right?
just look up Good Egg. It should be at the top there, and click on it. And there are two different. So our Tuesday night show is half off tickets. It's technically the preview show. So those are $15, and then everywhere from the Wednesday to the Saturday show are $30 regular ticket price, and $25 if you're a union member, a student, or senior. As well.
Really, if you Google Fire Hall Vancouver.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
look Fire Hall Vancouver. Just go on there.
And then it's
Buy
like, I think
tickets
it's
at-
what's
just
playing.
walk up and-
Yeah,
What's playing now.
What's playing now, and then like the 2017.
We're the front page.
Yeah.
We are now?
Yeah, we're
Oh,
the front
okay.
page, yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
went
Well,
up.
there you go.
And on the
and you
digital
can
box
also,
on it.
yeah,
That's it.
and you can also just come up to the door, doors open at 7 and the show starts at 8.
So if you want to come in for a beverage, which
Yeah.
is not open and free.
Yeah, if you want to pay for your beverage.
Yes, if you want to
feel
pay
free
for
I
your
mean,
beverage.
it's an open bar, so just come.
Just
Oh,
come.
whoops, you're here.
Yeah. Well, you bought the ticket, so
Well, you
may
bought
as well-
the ticket.
may as well come and see it.
And just for anybody, it's a very well-paced show with no intermission. So
Yes.
you'll
Pee beforehand.
as somebody who's directed a lot of shows and then seen a lot of shows, one of my main goals going into the show was I wanted the audience to just be captivated the whole time.
And
So
you are. I watch the show a lot, guys.
it's very well paced and two just very talented actors who pull it through. And so yeah, Good Egg Fire Hall Center,
And
Firehall Art Center.
Art Center,
Art Center.
And it's August 22nd to the 26th.
6th.
And it's a
And
90-minute play.
90 minutes.
So, I mean...
Doesn't feel like 90 minutes.
It's a
You
dramatic comedy, so you'll
Yeah.
have some laughs.
You'll cry and you'll laugh.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a social media presence? Where do we follow you?
There's an event on Facebook.
We have
Yeah.
a Facebook page, Good Egg. We actually technically have two because
Well, one's public, so...
one's
that's-
public, yeah, so.
You'll
yeah.
find that one.
You'll
You'll
find
find that one.
If you really wanted the
Private,
private
not
one, you got to bribe Brooke.
Yeah.
I can take
Well, I didn't realize when you make a page and you accidentally put it public. I mean, because I wanted
You
to
could
make
put it
sure that they
private
private. Because I want to make, okay, can we send it public now that we have all our details on there? And they're like, yeah. And then Facebook was like, no. And once you make it private, it's private.
Yeah,
so
so-
I was like, sorry guys, we have to reinvite all of you again. Here's the public page.
So take note, Mark Zuckerberg, when you listen to this,
Yeah.
that you should change that.
Yes.
Yes.
Change it.
Sucks.
Twitter, Instagram.
Well, we all have like our individual
Individual.
ones, but
And if
I
you
think
just
it's
look up
involved.
hashtag Good Egg
Yeah.
There's a lot.
on
Hashtag.
Instagram, and then you'll find posts.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
cool enough.
Also, I gotta say, I was tweeting it, and Dorothy Fort Murray actually retweeted it, so she was pretty excited that we're putting it on Vancouver
Maybe
too.
she'll
Yeah.
show.
Maybe.
maybe. Here's hoping.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
Dorothy.
Dorothy.
Come to the show.
Oh,
Well, that was
oh,
exciting,
that
but
was
anyways.
even us.
Do you guys have Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
No?
Here,
Tell us
so
about them.
why don't you go with
My,
yours?
I guess mine is just Brooke Walker on Twitter. I don't know what my Instagram one is. I just know it's like
We'll
Let's
put-
go.
Brooke
Yeah.
0704, I think. 'Cause there were so many Brooks. Actually, there's so many Brooke Walkers, which is great.
Mine's actually pretty simple. It's just real_RA Hughes HUGHES.
That was
Both for Twitter and for Instagram.
I'm not cool enough to have Twitter, but I do have Instagram, and it's
Well, that's hipsterish.
yeah. I just
Yeah,
there's too much.
You're not too good for
I think my
Twitter.
Instagram is SAH206, and
Yes.
you just search Samantha Hazier Sam Hazi. Then
That's why I couldn't tag you in Twitter.
yeah,
Like, where is she?
yeah, no, not yeah, and you'll find lots of photos of this play online.
On both Twitter and Instagram is Hans Von Doom, so it's HANZVONDOOM, like the Marvel villain. We're taking Insta right
Oh, wait.
now.
We're doing an instant picture right as we're
Rob's
podcasting.
arms aren't long enough.
Aaron, oh, don't hide. My child is right here. Wait, you can't see.
So yeah, also that's my gamer tag. If anyone wants to find me.
But also, we
Oh,
have.
cute.
There's so many people that have also helped out with this play too. Like we had some friends helping out with some props and like costume kind of things, and our friend Stephanie that did all of our promotional photos, which was really nice for her. She
And
did
she's
it.
a professional photographer. If anybody wants one.
Stephanie D Line.
Okay, we'll add her link to the link.
Yeah.
Link.
Mike?
Well, her
Link to the-
Instagram is Stephanie
Jeez.
Dandelion actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Gee, you never know I'm a professional broadcaster.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's so many local like business and stuff helping promote our play as well as Vancouver Film School and yeah, there's
Also
Jet Beach and
the-
Jet
Associates.
Beach and Associates.
The
Shoreline
empty,
Studios.
dusty building we were
Oh, yeah?
missing out of. Thank
Oh
you,
yeah,
Chris.
Oh,
that
yes.
was thank you, Chris.
Super helpful.
Do you
And,
still not know his last name?
he told me the other day, and I
He's like,
seriously.
Come on,
What was the room, the escape room called?
Well,
Yes?
yeah, through Immersive Games.
Yes,
Immersive Games.
Which
Thank
is
you
no
for
longer there.
no longer there, but
Don't
their
try.
memory goes on. Immersive games still exists. Guess HQ doesn't. Immersive games is
Yes, and thank God because they gave us a free rehearsal space.
free rehearsal space. A little dusty,
But
but
At
that's
the end, toward the end.
Every time we go there, it's just distracted a little bit more.
My foot is a different color when I come out. Oh, by the way. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you need to come to our play because the more tickets sold, the faster my toe will heal.
Yeah, she broke her
Yeah.
toe.
I broke my
Oh.
toe. I broke my
Oh.
toe on Sunday, so
On what?
a deflated air mattress.
So yeah, help an actress.
Help an actress.
Help me,
Help an actress.
please, folks, buy some more.
Once again, Firehall Arts Center.
Yeah.
.ca. 22nd to the 26th. You want to tell them to come say,
I'll
come
get
say
a
the
toy
show?
if you say it.
Fine.
I'll buy
We're
you a
gonna keep
cookie.
That,
Come on.
say it, come on.
Just one.
Say, come see
You're
me.
an actress, you can say it. No, oh,
She's
she
rolling.
rolled her
She
eyes.
needs
She rolled her eyes. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at KEVOLE. Add me as a friend on Facebook, Kevin Olenek. And YouTube, Kevin Olenek. Spreaker.com, Kevol. Also, you will miss, because I think I'll have this up after I do this, I'm doing a live Facebook talk therapy about the week that has been.
Oh, yeah.
So, title of talk therapy.
Apparently, there's a story behind that.
There's a story behind this.
It's been a
You
little
just
rough.
say.
Yeah, we spent all rough. And we also will be reviewing, as I said, The Defenders is coming out now. We're now 11 hours away
Oh, man.
as of this recording.
Okay.
So, there we
No
go.
one can hear. You gotta say it clear if you want to say it.
Okay.
Everyone, don't look at her.
Go look. We'll look this way.
Look this way. Go, Evan, go. Okay, I guess no cookies.
Nope.
I don't grab my child.
You've got 10 seconds.
Go. No?
Nope.
Come see the play.
Come see the play.
That's you. They just imitated you perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get all
Sweet,
that.
save some money for cookies.
See you.
You gonna say it right? Do it.
Oh, it's over.
It's over.
Oh,